we can start now. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the No Right Answers podcast. Again, I'm Chris Stout, and today with me I have Jacob Jared,
How's it going?
who is, I consider, a cousin because he's my wife's cousin.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And, yeah, we're just going to talk today about his experiences with parenting. I remember when Jacob had messaged me. We're not super close, but he felt close enough to message me when he was about to have his first child. And he was like, hey, man, just looking for some advice. Anything you got to kind of throw my way would be much appreciated. And I don't know. We're just going to talk about his experience. And I know it's a super scary time right before you have your first.
Yeah.
I think most fears come from the unknown and not knowing what to expect. So those couple months leading up to having your first are just plain scary because you just don't know what's going on. You don't know how well you've prepared until you're looking back, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
months later,
yeah.
and you're like, oh, probably should have done that, shouldn't have done that. I guess we didn't really need that. But even so much as the baby showers and stuff, I mean, you'll get stuff and you're like,
Oh my god.
what am I ever going to do with this? You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the thought and the sentiment, but like a bottle warmer after week 2, it's like, get out of here. I don't
Yeah.
have time for that. Microwave it, put it on your skin, put it in the mouth.
I feel bad, but probably half the stuff we got from the baby shower is sitting in the attic.
Dude, I get it. And you're probably not alone in that because, number one, the technology and everything is just, I mean, those little swings that move by themselves.
Yeah.
What are you for? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
You
It's
know-
like, it's crazy.
We used one of those for Wyatt for his first not 6 months, maybe like the first couple of months.
Yeah.
And oh my god, he wakes up, you feed him a bottle, you
Yeah,
put
yeah.
him back in that thing, and it rocks him back to sleep, and he sleeps literally the whole time.
Crazy.
Having an infant was like, I thought it was gonna be bad, like you said, right before you have the baby, it's like, fuck, like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And
For sure.
And then once you have an infant child, you know, it's just so basic. You know what I mean?
It
It doesn't
really- yeah.
really need anything other than attention, love, care, and food.
Yeah.
And milk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
when it's not eating, it's sleeping.
Yeah.
When it's awake, you rock it back to sleep. It was so easy to me. I was like, wow, is
Yeah.
it gonna get harder? And yeah, it got
You got
much
your
harder.
answer pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember my kids, we didn't have the glider or whatever. We would have like just the normal swing
Mm-hmm.
that would move by itself, and I mean, my kids loved that thing because it's like after a while, I mean, you got other stuff going on. The house has to get cleaned eventually, so
is
it's
true,
like
yeah.
transferring from your body, but there's no replacement. You know what I mean? To just holding them and just
And doesn't
walking
feel
around.
as good when they're just sitting
Absolutely.
in the
And
thing,
of
you know?
course you're building that connection and that, you know, relationship between you and the baby, which is super important.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, just
Yeah.
your background and whatnot.
Sure. So my name is Jake Jarrett, and I live here in Old Brooklyn. I just moved here maybe two and a half years ago. I love it. It's very nice. Everybody's nice. The neighbors. It's a great area. And I just had my first child, a boy, Wyatt, about 2 years ago. He turns 2 in April, so I'm pretty new to it. You know, still getting my feet wet, but
Right.
I feel pretty experienced already just because after the first, the coronavirus hit in March. I think. So
Yeah.
I was working from home, fortunate enough to be able to work from home, and I was like, this is great. I can be here with Wyatt, and we don't need to bring anybody from the outside in, no
Right.
daycares. Sweet. Well, it was okay for like the first couple of months, maybe until June or July, but it got very hard after Wyatt, got a little bit older. After he turned a year old,
Yeah.
they start walking, they get into everything.
They
and
let loose.
yeah, watching them, like having your mind in 2 different places,
Yeah.
it's rough.
Right.
But so yeah, I did work from home for a while, and it got a little stressful to the point where me and Amber had to start discussing, Amber, my girlfriend, baby mama as well. We started discussing like, what could we do, because it was, I'm not gonna lie, really hard. It's
Yeah.
not impossible to watch a child and work, but
No,
it's
but
it's like having your mind in two different places is very stressful, and it was getting to me.
Yeah.
And health issues started to arise. Like I got like this weird stress bump in my neck, and I
Jeez.
thought it was like a cyst or something.
Yeah.
Just from stress, the doctor says, from too much stress. And I told her I just had a newborn baby, and he's
Yeah.
1 year old, and I work from home, and she's like, that'll do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, geez, I need to relax more, or just get help.
Yeah.
And my mom was able to help when she could, but she works,
Yeah.
and her parents work, and
Yeah.
with the whole coronavirus thing, you don't want to
Yeah.
just send them anywhere. So
Absolutely.
we decided that we compared, the pros and the cons of one of us, leaving, and Amber absolutely loves her job and
Yeah.
is, amazing at it, and she makes more money than I did at
Yeah.
the time. So obviously we decided to send me home,
Right.
basically, to
Yeah.
stay with Wyatt and be like a stay-at-home dad until maybe he goes to school,
Yeah.
and maybe then I'll get a job again. But
Yeah.
so that's pretty much the situation I'm in now. I'm just stay-at-home dad. I hang out with the kid all day. I clean the house, do the
Yeah.
dishes. I'm getting there with cooking. I'm not got an air fryer, so that
Dude,
makes.
I'm still not there with cooking.
I'm
still,
scared to cook.
The kids
sometimes.
look at me sometimes and they're like, "Oh yeah,
Is
this
this the
is what
dinner?"
we're doing? Okay, I'll try it, I guess." But yeah, I mean that'll come. That's just to go back. Like that's huge, and it's situations like that where you don't know what stress and decisions come arise until they smack you in the face.
Exactly.
And it's
yes.
not even just the virus, but just the fork in the road with your relationship and everything like that. I mean, stress in your life can literally damage everything that you come in contact with.
Yeah.
And there's no way to function and to have the self-awareness to be like, something's got to change. Because a lot of people will just sit in it and be like, well,
And just-
that's life. Life sucks. This is it. And
You
it's
know,
kind of like, well, it
ki-
doesn't have to.
Yeah, I can find myself in that position sometimes because like it's hard to find answers, to get out of
Yeah.
the stressful situation. But that's when you got to realize, you have to push forward and
Absolutely.
do something, Cause,
And the fact that you put your child first and was like, okay, what's the best for him?
yeah.
You know?
That's the thing too. Is like when I started to feel bad, and I'm not gonna lie, I got a little sentimental and cried a couple times because there were
Yeah.
times when he would just come up to me and want me to hold him and play with him, bring me toys, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I'm on calls, I can't, and that would make
Yeah.
me, it
Yeah.
would make me cry sometimes. And
Yeah.
I just felt so horrible. It's like, I'm here with him, but
Absolutely.
am I really here with him?
Absolutely.
So after I quit, it just got so much better.
Yeah.
It's and I could see it in him. Like he's only a year and 8 months, and he just used the potty the other day for the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that he's gonna be potty trained
No,
anytime
no,
soon,
but
but
that's huge.
the fact that he sat on the toilet and used it, we got a little potty seat for him. And
Yeah.
I was just very shocked.
Yeah. See, that's awesome. And that's a sentiment to you guys being like, this is not working for him. Not
Yeah.
only is it not working for you and your stress level and everything but that's a lot what me and Matt were talking about last episode, to where when you're not right, everyone feels it.
Yeah.
So you go home,
Yeah,
you
sadly.
take your work home, or you take your stress home, that affects everyone you come in contact with. It's like the virus.
Yeah.
Stress is a
vi-
virus,
yes.
and it's contagious, and my wife tells me that constantly.
Clip
She
that.
says, yeah, she said your mood is contagious and it's killing me. And I'm like, my response is always, am I not allowed to have a bad day? But she's right, like if I'm not right, everyone around me is not right.
And
So
yeah, that can go for a lot of people, but I feel like, and this might be a stereotype, I hate to say it, but I feel like men kind of hold that stress in and kind of affect other people not as much as women would. I feel like they're more, maybe mothers, just they can bottle it up maybe a little more and rally the troops together, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
maybe that's just how it's been for me. That's how I've experienced it in my life.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of how I feel it might be. Men kind of just, I feel like they tend to bottle things up a little bit more and
absolutely.
don't really
Yeah.
talk it out, rather act out instead. Maybe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, and I don't. It's funny because I don't consider myself a typical male.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that alpha male energy or quality about me, mainly because I was raised with a house with a mother and two sisters, and my father traveled a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, having that female energy around me so much, I don't think I picked a lot of that stuff up. However, I feel that when I did become a father and a husband, that made me rise to the occasion and say, well, I can't show all of my emotions because if I'm showing all of my emotions, then who's holding it together for everybody?
Right.
Wanting to be the strong person. I remember, this is a random story, but my mother's house had a house fire. I want to say when I was in high school.
Okay.
Super random. Um, well, somebody's cigarette blew into a blanket, and it the whole my first car went up in flames. Um, anyways, long story short, we all get out, thank God.
You were in the house at the time?
Yeah, everyone was. So my two sisters, my nephew who was a baby at the time,
Jeez.
and I don't think my mom was home. So I hear a bunch of rustling and everyone running out the door. It was kind of like everyone for themselves, but everyone got out and we're standing on the sidewalk looking at the house, and I remember my sisters just being a mess, a complete and utter mess. And for some reason something clicked at that moment and I was like, okay, not that I wasn't allowed to show emotions, but I filled the role for the strong person. Like, I'm going to be the shoulder that you're crying on right now because
Even though you felt those emotions.
even though I wanted to completely
well,
break
yeah,
down and,
yeah.
and weep like a baby, for some reason something clicked and I felt the need to just comfort as opposed to deal with what I needed to deal with. And not to say that I didn't deal with it later, I'm still bottling it up inside, but a traumatic experience like that, you kind of see which way you're going to go. And that's kind of transferred into where there are certain instances where Ryan cut his hand with a knife one time. He was just doing something in his room. He had a little pocket knife and he sliced his hand, and it was deep and it was bad, but in that moment I kept it together. I was like, all right, get a towel. I was like, Braden, mom's going to be home soon. We got to go. We'll be back soon. I called my wife at work and she was like freaking out.
Yeah.
And she comes into the room just like, what happened to my baby? I was just like, hey man, why don't you take that energy somewhere else? Because we're all pretty calm right here. But yeah, and it's weird because I'm not, prior to that fire, I was not a very calm person, and I would be the first one to freak out and cause a scene if something was to go awry. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just interesting.
I can relate to that a little bit because my quick story for you. When just recently, my grandmother passed.
Yes.
On my father's side, so we were in the hospital visiting her. It was me and my sister,
Yeah.
and this is kind of a sentimental thing, but so I'll keep it short and not get too much in
You're
details.
fine.
But
We got time.
she she wasn't doing too well, and she wanted to call some people
Yeah.
and talk to them just in case anything happened.
Yeah.
And my sister, she asked her to call a couple people, and she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
She broke down.
Yeah.
And I somehow was able to
Yeah.
muster up the courage and not cry, and just called every single person, including the dentist. She had to call her dentist.
That's so funny.
It is. But yeah, I was able to call everybody, and some of those conversations were hard. And
Yeah.
the fact that I was able to translate for them, and
Yeah.
I dealt with it later for sure. But
Oh yeah.
at the
And you
time,
have to.
I don't know how I did it at the time. It was almost automatic,
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Like, there's something that comes over you, and you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you don't go back and deal with those feelings, that's when real trauma
Problems.
starts to deal with you and kind of mess
you
you
up
up.
inside,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. So you have to talk about that stuff, but being strong in the moment is something that I definitely relate to as far as being a father
Yeah.
and whatnot. So what about, I don't know, just the transfer from working to being at home?
It's great, honestly. Like, so, not, I'm not gonna say there's not stress still.
For sure.
Obviously there is from just. I'm not. Maybe if the coronavirus wasn't a thing and we were able to like leave the house more
Yeah.
and stuff and
No,
just go
for sure.
do stuff together,
Yeah.
maybe it wouldn't be so bad. But I just don't know. But now it's just the biggest thing for me is like almost like a loss of individuality.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like I kind of don't
Absolutely.
really feel like there's a lot of time. Like, and whenever Amber's off of work, she always makes sure
Yeah.
to make time for me and make hey, you want to go play some games? You want to go hang out with your
Absolutely.
friends? Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's great, but that's only like 2 days, out of the week.
Right.
So a lot of the time, it's just me and him in the house, and when I'm with him, it's funny. When I'm with him, it's like there's no problem. But
Right.
once he goes down for a nap, it's like, what do I do with myself?
It's like,
I cleaned this
Ricky
morning.
Bobby with his hands.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I was feeling that earlier. I was like, no, but yeah, so it's just like when I'm alone or just not with him or not actively, even when Amber's home, watching him, I sometimes feel like, what do I do now? You
Yeah.
know, like she's
Absolutely.
here. Like I mean, I could still obviously play with him and stuff, but I kind
Yeah.
of like to let her get that time because she doesn't
Absolutely.
get much time with him alone.
Absolutely.
So that's like the hardest part. Maybe is just trying to figure out like who I am and what
Yeah.
I want to do with that little free time.
Absolutely.
But I love just being a father and taking
Yeah,
on the role
no,
of just
for
being
sure.
a dad. It's like the greatest. It's so funny. Like before we had a kid, when
Yeah.
Amber told me she was pregnant, I was like, okay, not sure I was ready for that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You're you know your life's gonna change.
Yeah, drastically.
I wasn't expecting it to be like so amazingly like. I don't know. It's so hard.
Gratifying.
Yeah, gratifying. Yes. Great,
Yeah.
Great word to use there. It's like every hug or every smile, every time he comes up to you with a
Yes.
toy is just bliss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like it's great.
Yeah, and I'll find like, I mean, my kids are older now, so it's few and far between, but there'll be times where it'll just be something little. Like normally when I get home, my kids do not care. For some reason, even though I spent all those years at home,
Yeah.
when mommy gets home, everybody rushes to the door. When I get home, it's like, oh, hey, Dad, how's it going?
Yeah.
But like those certain times where Jackson will run up to me or Devin will just light up.
Oh.
It's like a freeze frame of a movie where everything goes slow motion and it's like, oh, that's what I needed today.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's so
or
sweet.
somebody has a meltdown and we fix the problem. Like little things like that. And it's really a testament to, I mean, children see life as a lot of black and white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like when things are good, things are great. You know what I mean? But when things are rough, then
It's the worst thing in the world.
it's
yeah.
the end of the world. Absolutely. So, but yeah, having those little moments, and I have them with all the kids.
Yeah.
No matter how old they are, but
That's something I was gonna ask you about. Is like, I'm still Wyatt's very young. He's not even 2 yet. So
right.
as you get older, as the kids have gotten older, for you, do you still retain that kind of connection with them? Is it like after school? I would imagine it gets harder to be,
Right.
fully there with them all the time because then they're gonna have friends. When they get home from school, they're gonna want to play games or
Right.
hang out with their friends. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, finding that, again, we're going to go back to balance. But yeah, finding that balance where they need their alone time, especially when they were going to school and whatnot. They would come home and need that relaxation time. And Devin would be really good. He's my 9-year-old. He's really good
He's
at just...
9 now.
Yeah. Yeah. He's really good about coming home, having a snack, doing his homework. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even have to ask him. Jackson, on the other hand, we could be doing homework for an hour.
Yeah.
That could normally take him 10 minutes. However, we need a snack and we need a drink and oh my gosh, I'm tired and I can't do this. Oh wait, I just did it. And it's like, but he just wants you there. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're there, he can do it. I don't even need to read it. And he'll make me read stuff to him that I'm like, you know how to read. I don't know why I'm here. But again, like, I appreciate that time with him, you
Yeah.
know? To just... But coming home from work and finding time for each one, that is the challenge. And making sure
You
that
have
they
so
have...
many. I mean,
They have their relaxation time is tough. So if I can... Normally, Ryan doesn't need me as much. He's 18.
I
He's
was
doing
gonna
his own
ask.
thing. So
do you guys like? Is there much of a need for those fatherly things like that you would provide to a younger child? Like,
is there a need for it? Yeah.
But-
Have I found that... I don't know. That time to really... I don't know. Because he's in this weird in-between stage where he graduated high school. He doesn't want to go to college, but me and Lisa really want him to at least get prereqs out of the way,
yeah,
because at least you'll have something, you know? We found that because we both stopped. I went for 2 years and stopped because the band started touring. She went for a few years after she had Ryan and Braden, and it just didn't work for her schedule. I mean, she was working
College is hard,
and going
too.
to school and taking care of the boys, and it's like, it was insane. So that didn't work either. So if you can push them to go right after college, it's easier to stay in. But once you stop, it's so much harder to go back. So we're in that in-between stage.
okay.
But I feel like he doesn't need me as much. But still, like, putting those gems in his head, like, your future's right in front of you. But I keep going back to the fact that, I mean, senior year, I mean, he went online. But it's the same thing that when you're in school, it's like everyone tells you your whole life is ahead of you. What's more daunting than hear that the next decision you make has effect on the rest of your life? Like,
It's
I don't
very.
even...
I mean,
yeah.
and for me in high school, I didn't go to college. Like, I didn't even try, and I
Yeah.
kind of, I like the way things turned out, but
Right.
I never knew what I wanted to do, and I think that college might help you at least, even if you just go for a little bit, figure out what you want to do in life. And
Absolutely. And I told him, I
know.
was like, even if you're not there for the academics, putting you in an atmosphere with like-minded people. Like, he loves fashion and music and all these other interests. So, like, putting you in, let's say, a fashion design class,
yeah,
you might find someone that loves,
the same.
Vivian Westwood and, like, obscure Raf Simons and, like, all these
Raf
other
Simons.
designers and, like, Rick Owens and all these, like, weird things that, like, not many people know about.
Yeah.
But putting you in a class with other people that are into fashion, it's like, hey, I have this idea for this shirt idea. Like, he's like, oh, well, I know a screen printer. Like, we should try to do this. And it's like,
There you go.
just little things. Like, and even if it goes
Who
nowhere.
knows what that leads to, though? Like you say, that's-
Exactly. Like, when I was in high school, I didn't even start listening to, like, punk rock music until I was already in a punk rock band. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like,
Yeah,
they came
okay.
up to me in the cafeteria and was like, hey, I heard you can sing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm in choir class. Like, I literally said that.
They
and
asked
they're
the guy
like,
from choir
yeah.
choir class
So,
to be in their punk rock band.
and my buddy, shout out Pat Call, he was like, all right, well, we got band practice after school. And I was like, okay. And so I went to this kid's house, and
First time ever meeting these kids?
first
too?
time, I knew him from class, but the other kids, I didn't know. A lot of them didn't even go to our school.
No.
But from meeting those other 4 kids, like, just opened my mind up to just so many different things. And it was weird because I wasn't a very outlandish kid, but something about the music just connected me.
Yeah.
And I just felt a part of something. And I think that's huge too. Whether it's sports, music, fashion, video games, any type of community that you can identify yourself with, I think in a kid's mind is huge. it's just huge because you feel so alone all the time, or like
Maybe it's-
nobody's like me.
It's so funny you're saying that. Maybe it's just because I'm alone at the house a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that. I would.
Yeah,
that,
for sure.
That I feel could affect adults as well. But I mean, obviously, kids
Absolutely.
are much more. They need that type of. Like you said, you can't. You can only connect with your parents on so much. You know, your parents might
Absolutely.
not be interested in the type of stuff that you're interested in, and
For
sure,
sure.
you can talk to them about it and stuff like that. But having another like-minded person, and you can't. You try to find friends online. It's not the same. You know,
Yeah,
you meet somebody
no.
in person, you get that real. You can tell if there's gonna be a connection there. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? And
Absolutely. So that's what I want for him.
yeah,
Where Braden at 14,
he seems like
he's got his
thing
sports
going
friends.
on. Yeah.
I mean, they're all so different. You know what I mean? But
That is
yeah.
funny. I remember that on the previous episode. You said that living in that household, it's so funny that they all live together, but they're all so different.
It's
And they are. It's funny.
It's wild.
Braden, I feel, and Ryan are like night and day.
Yeah, and it goes opposite. So Ryan's more like Devin, where
Okay.
like I could leave Devin in the house for a week and I know he's gonna be fine. Like he's self-sufficient,
Yeah.
but I feel like emotionally, I feel like they lack. Their intelligence is there, and the maturity is there, but when it comes to feelings
Showing emotion
and
and
yes,
stuff like that.
that is where they struggle. So I try to. But when you have people like Braden and Jackson, who if they need something, they're right in your face. They are in your face, being like, "Give me something, give me something, give me something. Play with me,
This
love
is
me,
so
be
true
with
about
me."
Braden.
Yes. And
This is
he's
so
not
true.
shy about
Yes.
it, you know, which
Yeah.
I love and appreciate because there's no questions there. Like, I know when he needs something because he will not
Yeah.
remove himself from my butt, you know?
That's funny. Yeah, that's nice. You see, I kind of
Yeah.
I want Wyatt to be self-sufficient, but I also like that kind of
Yeah.
they need you, they want you, you know.
Right.
Like that's nice.
Because it's easy for the quiet kids to be like, oh, he's fine. He's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, again, balance between the kids that are in your face. And so when I come home at night and I just want to play one game with everybody without fighting and without getting angry, and it's just it
Doesn't
doesn't
happen
work
often.
out. And
Well-
then sometimes that'll affect my mood for the rest of the night. And my wife's like, "What is wrong? You just got home." And it's like, I just want to play Uno without the cards getting thrown in the air and everyone just being more mad than when I got home. You know?
I understand that. Having 4 kids is probably a whole different wheelhouse. It's probably, I don't know if it's different from having 2. I heard after once you have 2, it's like having 3 or 4. It just kind of comes a little easier. But
Yeah.
for me, having 1 and then a world where I had another one, I don't know how I would manage that because I'm so into this first kid.
Right.
And I don't want to, wouldn't want to, not show the same attention and love to the other child
Right.
if we had one. But then I
Right.
feel like I'm taken away from him, and that's something I don't know I want to deal with. But
Yeah.
I like the idea of having multiple
No,
kids.
absolutely.
So how do you manage that? Like honestly,
I mean, some days are better than others. I mean, I don't think, and that's the thing. That's why I wanted to start this. Like, I don't have a rule book. I have what worked for us and what definitely didn't work for us. But it's just a day by day thing to where it just depends. It depends on their mood. It depends on our mood. I mean, there were times when they were little where I was like, we're getting in the car and we're going for a drive because number 1, I can't be in this house anymore. And number 2, I just need to remind myself that there's a world out there, you know? So you being stuck at home, I can
Yeah.
completely relate to that because it's like you do what's right for you and what makes you sane. So I don't know. I don't know the right answers because
there is no right answers.
yeah, hey, for sure. Because I mean, again, every kid's different, and you're gonna make wrong decisions. Like I probably shouldn't have gotten to the habit of, I don't know.
Well, I get
I
what
don't
you say.
know.
Like, that's a big part of it about being a parent, and I can say it all I want, but actually doing it's a lot harder. Making mistakes with your kid. Like I feel like the worst person in the world when I make mistakes for my
Absolutely.
kid, you know? So like it's just I feel like accepting those mistakes and then
Right.
just
That's huge.
figuring out how to not never, but not make that same mistake again.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
just-
I mean,
it's
there are
hard to do.
times I'm a pretty mild-mannered person, but don't get me wrong, and my wife will tell you gladly that I can fly off the handle.
I think that your at-home personality and your when you're around people personalities are much different because
Yes. Absolutely.
I can feel that in a sense that like when I'm mad and I'm upset at home for some reason, whether it be the kid or maybe I'm just stressed out from being in the house all day and I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If a friend came over, my mood just flips and I'm super nice and Amber's probably like, what the hell?
Yeah. Who is this?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's like, well, where was this 5 minutes ago? And
Yeah.
maybe it's just that it's just that maybe, I don't know what it is, truthfully.
Yeah.
But
No, for sure. And like your home dynamic is always going to be different, and you don't really want people from the outside to see you, number one, like that.
yeah.
And number two, I mean, it's just different. You know what I mean? You're gonna have those days where it's like everything and anything is gonna make me angry.
Yeah.
So finding your either alone time or your like reset. But like, I mean,
That's important.
again, I watch all these podcasts with other parents who are comics or athletes and whatnot, and it's like, well, I start my every day with yoga and meditation. Hey, man, what world are you living in? Because I don't live in that world. Now, could I get up at 6 a.m? Yes. However, when I stay up watching The Handmaid's Tale with my wife till 2 a.m, and I got work at 7:30,
You're gonna get that every last minute of sleep.
I don't think yoga's in my schedule. I'm gonna be honest.
And yeah, people. That's another hardest thing. Is like you want to better yourself and you want to work out or
Absolutely.
take a walk in the morning or do yoga, something to just make you feel better, but you can't because there's
Yeah.
either work as soon as you get up or as soon as you get up you got to take care of the kids.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
finding
and
that
it's-
time maybe.
Well, not only that, it's accepting it. Accepting that, guess what? My lifestyle may be a little different,
Yeah.
you know, and guess what? That's okay. If I gain 15 pounds over the holidays, you know what I mean? Because I was just like, give me all the food. Give me everything, you know? I'm not going to worry about anything. I should be exercising, but I'm not. But you know what? Like, being happy with yourself and being happy in the situation that you're in and accepting that, not accepting that you're letting yourself go or anything,
Yeah,
but
accepting that this is now probably your reality and
absolutely,
it's okay. It's
absolutely,
it's okay.
nothing is forever. Everything is constant. So even the routine that I have right now or that you have right now, excuse me, that's going to change.
Yeah.
It's going to change very rapidly, and it doesn't seem like it now because I can remember sitting in the house with an infant doing the same things over and over and over again. I heard a quote when I was a stay-at-home dad, and it said that if you're bored out of your mind, that means your child's happy. There is nothing that I connected more with than that,
Well, that
because
makes
it's
me
the
feel
same
better.
toy and the same puzzle and the same book. There was a book, I think it was that Devin liked. I must have read that thing 300 times.
Yeah.
There was 15 other stories in this book.
He
Didn't
only
care
liked the
about
one.
those, just the one at the end. And I was like, I wanted to be like Devin. I can't anymore. I really can't. You know what I mean? Like, I know it by heart. Why don't you say it to me? Because, like, I mean, and he was little, but
Yeah.
but doing the repetition, and that kills you because you always find,
Repetition's the worst, and like in jobs, I've always hated that. Like,
and that's what I'm saying. When you're at a job that's like, it might be similar every day, but there's always that one situation that was like, oh, that was different.
Yeah.
Like, that
Well,
mixed it up a little
anomaly in
bit
the
for
code,
today.
you know? Yeah.
Oh, I got a tuna sandwich for lunch today. You know, that's different. But being in the same surroundings and doing the same exact things, that'll make you go nuts.
and I think that's probably the thing I struggle with the most at home is
Yeah.
that, every day we wake up, get breakfast, watch Mickey morning,
Yeah.
and then play with, like you said. Well, Christmas just came, so we got new toys, but
That's nice.
in a month they'll be the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
old toys, and it's
For
just
sure.
it's boring sitting in the house all
For
day
sure.
long, and I don't, I would like to go out, but it's freezing.
Yeah.
So what do? And it's just kind of like you said, you have to accept it and maybe put your mind to figuring out what to do to make yourself not bored. And even if there isn't anything you can do, there's times in the day, like
Yeah.
when they go down for naps and stuff like that. And, I don't, what age, like, so I'm so new to it,
Yeah.
what age do kids stop taking naps? 4 or 5? I think I took naps when I was in kindergarten. I think we had nap
Yeah.
time.
They do that. Yeah, they have nap time and definitely preschool. I think they had like head down time in kindergarten.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got time.
So like yeah, in those like times when he naps, those are the times when I try to make sure the cleaning's done already. That way,
Right.
in those times, I have time to take my camera and go take some pics in the yard, and
Love that.
that
See?
gets boring too because
Well,
it's
yeah.
just the same old yard. But it's you just gotta find those advantages or those instances where you could take advantage and do something different,
Right.
even if it's in the house, and just to make yourself a little more sane.
Absolutely. And even if it's so much as like getting a cardboard box and making a spaceship out of it one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like sticking him in it with a crayon, letting him go nuts, and then you do stuff around it and just pull him around the kitchen. Like little things like that to break up the day for you. Not necessarily
Yeah.
for him, but just something new for you to do.
That is so
That
funny
is-
that you say that because I did that the other day.
Did you?
I was like, you know what? Let's build a fort, like throughout
Yes.
the whole house. And I
Yes.
put chairs around, giant sheets everywhere, and he loved it. And for me, I was like, you know what? This took time to do.
Yes,
It's gonna take time to
absolutely.
clean up. This is great.
Absolutely.
You know?
And the important thing is you were with him.
Yeah, and he was enjoying it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I saw that video on Facebook where they took a bunch of boxes and they put it down the steps as like a slide. Did you see that?
Yeah, my mom was like, "You have to do that for a while." I was like, "I need carpeted stairs first."
For sure. I mean, my stairs go directly into the closet, so unless I fill the
nice.
closet
Little
with
closet with a bunch of
blankets and whatnot,
That'd be cool.
yeah, they're a little big for that. But I just little things like that
Yeah.
that break up the day for you. And I love that you found photography. You know what I mean? Just little things like that, and looking up videos on like still photography, like in your house, or like getting a cheap light box, or making your own.
And I
or-
just got one just the other day, and it's funny you say that. And
I swear we haven't spoken in months,
a while, yeah, a long time.
if not longer.
I think
That's
the last
so
time
funny.
we really talked was in West Virginia when we were down there.
Yeah,
last
and when was that?
February.
Jeez.
I'm pretty sure.
So the fact that I'm just nailing all this—that's completely
Yeah.
coincidence.
Nostradamus.
But see, yeah, no, that's crazy. And then when the weather gets warmer, you guys can find different spots to take. Like,
And it'll be great because he's older too, and like
absolutely,
he can actually walk about and
yes.
enjoy a walk
Yeah.
through the woods and stuff
Go
like
to
that.
Lakewood to the steps. And
Exactly,
Go to
yeah.
I'm trying to think of Voinovich Park. I love just going down there and walking around. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Right behind the Rock Hall.
Yeah, it's very nice, and I mean like, yeah, summertime's different. I feel like
Yeah.
there is it's a saying, but wintertime blues, like you just get that depression almost.
That
like
is real.
yeah, it is. And
That is real.
being able to go out and feel the sun, on you, is just
Absolutely.
it hits different.
It certainly does, as the kids would say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love that. And you know what? It is going to get better. And there's going to come a time where, my kids, they just got new iPads for Christmas and
Nice.
new video games. And it's like, I feel like I haven't seen Devin in 2 days. Just because he's been like,
With his toys.
yeah. And like, Jackson's FaceTiming his little girlfriend every day and just showing her all
I heard
his...
about that. That is so funny.
Oh my God, so funny.
And you know what else I love too? Sorry to bring this
No.
up, but in that picture you posted on Instagram, your family photo,
Yeah.
he must love Braden's girlfriend because I seen how he was holding on to her in the photo, and I was like, "That is so
You know what's
sweet."
funny is I didn't even notice that until my wife pointed it out.
Yeah.
But so that's his girlfriend's sister.
No way.
So that's
Keeping it
so
in the
they
family.
yeah. So they
Nice.
went to school together.
Yeah.
But when Braden and Madison started dating, that's when Jackson and
Nice.
Liv started
They're in the
dating.
same age too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Coincidence.
It's crazy.
That's
But,
funny. Yeah, I saw that. And I was like, how cute is that?
But yeah,
It's just-
it's super cute.
Yeah.
Now, when the teenagers are not on good terms, it's not so great for everybody. But
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's gonna happen because they're teenagers.
Yeah.
Every day could be a different.
could be every hour.
This is. That's
It's
fun.
depending on the day for
That's
sure.
funny.
But I mean, I'm pretty proud of him, of where he's at emotionally with relationships and stuff.
Braden?
To where,
Yeah.
not
Oh.
not that it doesn't. Yeah, Braden.
Yeah, okay.
Not Jackson.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wow.
It doesn't. I can't say it doesn't affect him. However, he's pretty strong in his beliefs and his like values and whatnot.
It's like morals and stuff.
He'll put up with some stuff. All guys do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to. Comes with the territory.
Right.
However, he is able to put his foot down, and he has before, and I know that for a fact, which I also love.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs
At
to
his
have their
age
breaking
is
point.
nice,
Yes,
you know.
and it's wise beyond his years. Trust me, because there's some adults that don't know boundaries.
So I feel that's why you mentioned at the very beginning, during the intro, that I reached out to you for
Yeah.
advice because the way your kids seem more, I don't even want to say like mature because that's not really the right word, but more just more conscious, I guess, of the world, and they're just. Ryan's always been, smart as long as I can remember. He's
Yeah.
5, he was doing multiplication.
Yeah.
So, but Braden, like you said, he's just they're emotionally there.
Mhm.
Jackson is just how old is he now?
7.
7. Okay, well I remember when he was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He was just, he's just I don't want to say smarter than other kids, but they're just
Yeah.
there. And I wanted you. They had an emotional relationship with you. They're always with
Yeah.
you in your hands. I remember when they were younger.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I wanted Wyatt to be with me. I want us to
Right.
have that talking relationship. I want to be able to
Yeah.
explain things to him.
Right.
And, your
Yeah,
kids,
no, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I think a lot of especially in the younger years, them being so articulate at such a young age, that's all Lisa.
Yeah? Oh, yeah?
I have a video of Jackson in my bed and her saying phrases and him repeating them, and it's literally caught on tape, him learning how to speak. And it was the wildest thing. And that's the other thing. She'd be able to come home from work and do certain things with him that I wouldn't think of during the day. And I'm like, why didn't I do that? Like tummy time.
That is so
I would
funny.
never remember to do that. But the minute she would get home, she's like, okay. She put the little blanket out, put him on his tummy. I'm like, I had all day to do that. Not once did we do tummy time.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
That rings true to me a lot as well.
Yeah.
And when you say that maybe the articulateness, is that a
Yeah.
word? It comes from Lisa. I kind of feel like maybe that's where Wyatt picks up a lot of his, like, he speaks and says different words, and Amber taught him, teeth, nose, eyes, and mouth,
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah.
And, sure, he doesn't say them fully because
Right.
he can't yet.
No,
but
for sure.
the fact that he knows, and, like, we point to the toilet, pee-pee in the toilet.
Yeah.
The day that he used the bathroom for the first time, just a couple days ago, he opened his door, because he can open his door now, year
Awesome.
and a half. Yeah, opens his door, runs to the bathroom, and then tries to lift up the toilet seat. And I said, you got to go pee-pee? And he does this little thing with his hands. He's like, so I took his diaper off, and I set him on the toilet, and he farted, tooted a little bit, and then
Nice.
peed. And I was like, I was blown away.
Wow.
I texted Amber immediately. I was like, dude, this is nuts. And it's probably because that was the first thing that he did with me that I was like kind of the proprietor of, like
Yeah.
the one that made it kind of happen.
I did that.
Yeah, yeah.
That was me.
Yeah, because Amber's mostly, like you said, she'll come home and just do things
Yes.
that I wouldn't have thought to do for some odd reason.
Absolutely.
But,
Because we're so in it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We're so in the routine of everything else that it's like, okay, now it's book time, now it's toy time, and it's like
Bath
when
time,
they
bath
break
time.
up, when they come home, immediate they're like, okay, what can I work on with them?
Yeah.
Because their time is condensed.
It is.
So it's like they want to get in as much time with the important things, so they go straight to the real stuff, and it's like, oh well, probably could have worked on that today.
I know it doesn't make you feel like crap, but it's just
Yeah.
kind of like what the hell, damn
For
it,
sure.
why didn't I do that?
It's like,
and
well, we
it's-
read that book for the 30th time, so gotcha. You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah, and having
That's
that
funny.
video of him
That's
saying
crazy.
phrases
That's crazy.
for the first time is just like, it's wild. But again, it goes back to you fill different roles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's okay. You're the potty dad. And you
And
have
I'm
to accept
okay
that.
with that. I'm
Absolutely.
okay with that.
Because he'll associate that with you, and that'll make it easier for when you're around. He's going to feel comfortable enough to be like, oh, Dad was really happy when I did this.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do that more.
Yeah, and I hope that's that's what I do is positive reinforcement, high
Absolutely.
five, and all that. But,
Definitely.
like, that is funny that you say that, like, there are different roles because Amber, I try to brush Wyatt's teeth, but, like, he just does not like it when I do it.
Right.
And Amber's got him in such a routine that he will come into the bathroom, lay down in her lap, and let her, even though he hates it, will
Just
let her
completely.
brush his teeth. Yeah. And I'm like,
What am
"Geez,
I?"
How did you get him to do that? And, like, I can't, it's hard for me to do it. So
Yeah.
it's just weird that maybe there are just different roles,
Yeah.
that we can fill. And I could find more. different
What about the
roles.
clipping of the nails?
That's also Amber. 'cause
Yeah.
I can't. I'm scared, kind of.
Yes.
Yes, to hurt him.
absolutely. I remember Lisa putting their little infant hands in her mouth and just chewing off the nails. That's how she would do it. And then she would move to like the scissors and stuff when they
Right.
would get older, but I was like,
I should have honestly. That seems like an easy way to do it for when they're infants.
it's not terrible.
Because
It worked
you
for
got
a long
you got
time.
your senses, about
I
you.
mean, Jackson still freaks out. He's like, I don't want my nails cut. I
Yeah.
was like, dude, either we're painting them or we're cutting them. And obviously, knowing him, he's
Yeah.
cool with either. But when he's in school, I can't really do that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just certain things that is going to be easier for the mom. And another thing is, being the dad, you will never have the connection that the mother does.
Yeah, and
That's not always easy. Because guess what? You're home 24/7 right now.
yeah,
Same thing as I was.
he's probably gonna. Is he gonna get tired of me? Give me the honest answer, because before, when I was home all the time, he always, I don't want to say preferred, but he would always just, like, if Amber tried to take him out my arms, he would rather just me hold him.
Yeah.
And sometimes when
That's a
Amber was
good
holding
feeling.
him, yeah, it is. You don't want to show it in the moment.
No,
'cause,
no, no,
you know,
no.
You don't want to, like,
Yeah,
hurt anybody's feelings, but you're like, nice.
Yeah.
But he used
For
to do
sure.
that all the time. But now, I feel like that I've been home off of work, and Amber's, she works a lot.
Yeah.
She gets home, and he's like, and it's awesome to see. I
Yeah.
tell him, like, go give your mom a hug, go
Yeah.
give her a kiss. And he gets excited, he screams, he smiles,
Yes.
lights up his face, and
That's
not
big for her.
much anymore. Yeah, which is great. Not much anymore will he, come to me
Yeah.
for that, preference. And
Yeah.
I think that it might go away, maybe just because we're home together so often, and he
Yeah.
rarely, heart does make, or
Distance.
distance does make the heart grow fonder.
Absolutely.
So I think that maybe he will get that with her, and which is okay.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
cool
for
with being
sure.
the guy, it's just
I
all the time.
honestly, I don't think I was ever any of their favorites.
No,
No.
never.
No, I
Not even
really
in the
don't.
beginning?
No, I really don't. And it's like they forget how. And I'll try to remind them sometimes. Like, do you know how long I was here with you alone? And they
How many
just
diapers I changed?
yeah.
How many
unreal.
dinosaur nuggets I made?
Oh my god, so many. But yeah, I don't think I was ever. I mean, I definitely had moments like that.
Yeah.
When they were super tiny, but I think Lisa's always been their favorite. They've always all been mama's boys.
Do you think that I'm a mama's boy myself,
Same.
so I don't even.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really meet a lot of boys or men that are very well connected with their father, I feel. Like, me and my dad, we
Yeah.
don't have a bad relationship, but I will
Right.
say, like, growing up, I only seen him on the weekends. So
Okay.
parents were divorced when I was like 5 or something.
Okay.
But every time I seen him, he's got the GameCube. He's got the new games.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
playing games together.
Yeah.
As I got a little bit older, we didn't. I mostly just played games on my own, or I'd ride my bike around the neighborhood. His
Yeah.
house just kind of became like a fun house for me. I didn't really
Right.
spend time with him.
Okay.
So, and I can recall times I went to his house on the weekend and cried because I wanted to go back with my mom. Not just because I didn't want to be with him, because I missed
Right.
my mom,
Absolutely.
And I feel like now that I'm older, me and my dad have the best relationship, maybe even closer than I was with me and my mom when I was younger, just
Oh,
because
wow.
we spend so much time together. And
Yeah.
he's so involved in Wyatt's life, which is if you listen to this, I hope he doesn't take this as offense, but it's a shock because
Yeah.
with my sister's 4 kids, he gets them presents and they all love him. He loves all of them.
Yeah.
But with Wyatt, he comes over a lot, and maybe it's because me and my dad have sports to, connect over. My dad's always loved sports.
Yeah.
And none of my brother and sister really don't care about sports.
Interesting.
So, maybe that's why we have a little bit of a closer relationship now. But, yeah, we play basketball together. He comes over, we hang out, we watch sports. He comes over, visits with Wyatt. He brings Wyatt's toys all the time.
Yeah.
So, it's just a way different relationship. It's almost like a different guy,
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of normal, maybe, for men to not connect with their fathers until they're older. Or
Interesting.
I don't know a lot of guys that have that super strong. All my friends, like my buddy Alonzo, I don't even think, like him and his dad did kind of like a weekend thing, and now he rarely sees them, and all my other friends, like divorced parents, don't even really know their dads. Amber doesn't even know who her dad is. So it's just like, I feel like
tough.
I don't want to say it's a stereotype for fathers to just be like the more absent parent, but sometimes it kind of seems that way, and I kind of wanted to break that mold with Wyatt. I want
Absolutely.
him to know that I'll be there here through 18, or even after 18 you're still a parent, but
Absolutely.
I want him to know that I'm here, and I'm not trying to take the role away from Amber and be like the one
No,
parent.
of course not.
I want him to have that special relationship with her as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I have an unhealthy bond with my child just because I'm home with him all the time, and I just being away from last night. He stayed the night at my mom's house.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in forever,
Right.
and it's just I didn't wake up in the middle of the night. Oh my God! I woke up this morning why am I not? Why am I awake now? What
Oh my
happened?
God.
Yeah.
The first time that your child sleeps through the night in a long time,
Scares you, right?
panic.
Yeah.
Complete and utter panic.
I'm
It's
glad I'm not
oh,
weird for
no,
that, yeah.
you are absolutely right on track. You know what I mean? But going back to your dad, I think maybe your relationship now, I think, is a testament to maybe your relationship all along that you didn't realize. Maybe your dad did feel closer to you all along growing up, and he kind of let you do your thing until you needed him.
Maybe that's and that kind of does make sense actually. And I like that you said that because it does make me feel a little different about it. But
Yeah.
I do feel that way because my dad was very go do your thing. I
Yeah.
come over. My mom was like, hey, stand on the street and where I
Yeah.
can see you.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, oh, you want to ride your bike up to Tremont Park? Go for it.
Right.
I always had friends with
Yeah.
me. And that was another thing. My cousin, Ty Matthias, lived right next to me basically. So
Oh, right. Okay.
from the ages of 8 maybe to 16, 17,
Yeah.
I was literally just going to my dad's house to hang out with him and
Yeah.
go to his house. So maybe you're right. Maybe my dad just was like, I loved it that my dad let me do my own thing.
Absolutely.
So
and having
was there time we spent
Yeah.
together? No, but was he still making me happy? Yeah, for sure.
right. Yeah, that's funny. And again with the parent dynamic where your mom was super hey,
Yeah.
I need to see you.
Stay
And your dad
here.
was kind of just hey, I trust you. That's huge
It is.
to have both.
And I feel like my mom had a hard time giving me that trust. It's I really don't remember her letting me go out with my friends, driving around with my friends
Yeah.
until a little bit later in high
Well,
school.
you're her baby.
This is true. Yeah, the
So,
youngest.
I mean, and it's funny because you don't strike me as the typical baby of the family. You
What do you
seem
mean,
more like the middle child
yeah.
to me. I don't know why.
It's funny you say that. I was kind of thinking about this the other day. I feel like younger, because I am the baby of the
Yeah.
family. I feel like I've done more than, maybe my brother or even my sister. I feel like neither of them owned a house, and I was the
Yeah.
first, to do that. And not
Yeah.
that's a bad thing. I was just lucky enough to have Amber, who made the same amount of money as I did, and we were
Right.
able to do everything Dutch. We do everything together.
Yeah, for
Or
sure.
Did, not anymore. But yeah, so I do kind of feel a little bit older in that sense, to
Yeah.
where I feel like I said with the thing with my grandma, I was able to take more control, and I do, I set up a night with my mom every week to have dinner so she
Yeah.
can see why. I go out of my way to do those types of things.
Absolutely, that's
And,
huge.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that is kind of an older.
Yeah.
child mindset. Maybe I never felt like the baby after I turned 18. Like until I was 18, I felt like the baby.
Yeah,
for
no, no,
sure.
no, for sure. It's funny because I think, and I don't know if this is typical of the younger one, but you observed, and I'm going to be very, excuse me, I'm going to
Yeah.
be very choice with my words because
Sure,
not
sure.
that your older siblings made a bunch of messes.
Yeah.
However, them being unorthodox, where your sister has many children and
Yeah.
your brother has none
So-
and has zero interest in ever having that, like, family.
I think Wyatt might be skewing his. He hasn't said anything to me, but Wyatt loves Judah, right? Because
Right.
he's in the house, right? You know, he lives. Did you know he lives with us or no?
No.
Okay, so sidebar.
Yeah.
He was living with his girlfriend and another girl
I
at a
can cut
house.
this out if you want.
Um.
Okay.
I mean,
just let me know.
Yeah, it's not. I don't really think he would care, but like,
Okay.
yeah, they basically he had to move out
Okay.
and wanted a place to stay until him and his girlfriend found a place together. So he moved in with me.
Nice.
And I let him. Like, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, I got a basement. Funny, he renovated my basement for me as like a home.
Oh yeah, that's what he does.
Warming. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
like a home warming.
Oh, that's so funny.
Home, yeah, warming gift or whatever. And as soon as he finished it, he moved in. Like a month later. So
How convenient.
yes, but it's awesome having a carpenter in the house because
I bet.
stuff happens like the
You
ceiling.
got a maintenance man.
Yes, he fixes everything. Like one time, my ceiling was kind of like falling apart.
Yeah.
Like another story, but he came and fixed it the same day because he's in the house, you know.
Jesus.
And we renovated. We did the floors. He did all the
Oh, my
floors.
God.
Does it all for free, you know. It's great. So,
That's huge.
but yeah, he has been living with me for a while, and Wyatt, you know, whenever he comes upstairs, you know, the only interaction he has with his uncle is fun. You know,
Yeah,
all they do
for
is
sure.
he comes upstairs, he picks them up, they play with their toys, and then he
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
back downstairs. And
Right.
you know, he never has to discipline him.
No,
so
of course not.
he loves Judah. You know, and I bet
Absolutely.
you Judah feels that
Yeah,
love. You know, and I
absolutely.
think that he might maybe want a kid because of that. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like if you see him with Wyatt, you know, they
He's at least open to it. now,
yes, yeah, which is
hu-
crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause when
yeah.
he was younger, he did not like children.
No.
So-
I mean,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I
Back to
feel
what
like
you were
he-
saying, sorry,
He
I
has
kinda-
no. I think he's got a good relationship with my older two.
Oh,
Definitely Ryan.
well,
I
'cause
mean, when they were
lived
living together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we all lived together for a minute, and him and Ryan was really cool with everybody in the
Yeah.
house, you know, and
He was such a sponge, and he,
He is,
gravitated so quickly to the older cousins,
Billy too.
especially
Loves
Billy,
Billy, yeah.
and Justin, and yeah, just everybody. And he was that cool kid that was like, oh, dude, you listen to him, you
That's
like,
the thing, yeah. Like he was super
you're
young.
into
Everybody
metal,
in
you
the
love
house,
skateboarding, and
That was the vibe of our house, probably.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
He definitely did pick all that up. I'd
yeah,
say, for sure.
absolutely, which I love. Because it's not the norm. You know what I
No.
mean? You guys weren't like out throwing a football in the backyard or like doing normal stuff
No,
like that.
We did
He
some
was-
weird stuff.
Yeah, no,
We
but
played
that's
manhunt at night. at midnight.
exactly. But like that's the stuff he's gonna remember.
Yeah.
You know. But no, going back to you being the youngest, I think you observed, the path that your older siblings took, completely absorbed that, and then made your own path. So you didn't have to make as many mistakes as they did because they already made them. I don't want to say mistakes, but
No, but like my sister having a child at like 15 or 16, most people would consider that a mistake. Me, I just think you're starting your life early. But
there you go.
You know, so but did I want to have a kid at 16? You know, I seen what that, you know, did to how my sister's life moved forward after that. You know, and
It's
having
not easy.
Yeah, having a kid before you're 21, you know, I would imagine is just you miss out on a ton of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I had Wyatt at 22, so 22 and a half, 23. So it's really not, I wasn't much thereafter, but, you know, everybody always used to say, you know, especially over at Sherry's house, you know, I remember at every party, oh, Jacob's going to be the next one to pop out a kid. And this was for years, and I
Yeah.
never did. I was like, you know what? I know what I'm doing, you know, so.
I got this under control,
Yeah,
guys.
listen,
Don't even worry about
My
it.
game's good. No, but yeah, everybody always I think did kind of expect me to be like,
Right.
you know, to follow in the footsteps, and I did try to skew away a little bit. You know, I didn't really go to college, which was still like I am the only one to finish high school. Out of, I don't believe my mother did. I think my dad did. I don't think
Oh,
my mom
wow.
finished her senior year. I'm not sure, to be truthful with you. But I know my brother and my sister did. My sister got her GED later on, but
Right.
I was the only one to get, a high school education, and that was kind of big to me, to
Yeah.
to finish it, like just because it was hard. High school's hard,
Yeah.
and it's not hard in the sense that the friendships, like that was my favorite part of high school. I was able
Right.
to fit in very well.
Right.
At Central Catholic, I was lucky to have my grandma there, as well. Like she worked there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
she worked there when my dad went there. My uncle went there. My cousin worked there. She worked there until she was like 70 something.
Wow.
Almost 80. Yeah.
That's insane.
Crazy. Yeah. But, yeah, just in high school, the learning aspect was hard for
Yeah.
me. I hate taking tests. I'm not very good at it, but I somehow managed to finish with a decent GPA.
Yeah.
And that was kind of big for me. No one really made a big deal about it. I don't really care, but like it's just
Hey guys, first one.
Yeah,
Everyone's like, hey, cool, you did your thing.
yeah. Of course, there's a congratulations there, but
Yeah.
it didn't feel like anything big. Like I kind of thought that after that, I was like, all right, things are gonna be moving in the right direction now. And then
For sure.
I just went straight to work, and I think I would probably keep it that way. I liked working. I missed out on the college experience,
Yeah.
but me and Amber were already in kind of like a 3-year relationship after. We met in high school when she was 14 and I was 16. So
oh my god.
yeah, so that kind of skewed our versions of college. Like before I met Amber, I wanted to go to Kent State with all my buddies and have a
Right.
good old time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, well, I don't want to go away from Amber now that I've been with her for 2 or 3 years. And she told me if she goes to college, she'll go to a community college, so it's local.
Interesting. Yeah.
And she did. She went to Tri-C for a little while, but
Okay.
didn't finish. But I was gonna go. This is funny, to Tri-C, and they gave me the placement test packet,
Uh-huh.
and it was like this thick. And I was just like, I looked at my buddy Matt, 'cause he was gonna go with me, and
Yeah.
I was like,
Nah. All set.
yeah. I'm more of like the creative. I like to go out and take a video camera and make something like that, and
For sure.
go back home and edit it and put it out there. I'm
Yeah.
not very with your traditional educational stuff. I'm not very into
Right.
math at all. Or
Yeah. It's so funny because I remember just not wanting to do homework, just not wanting to pay attention.
did you do homework in study hall, or just try to finish your homework before you got home?
Yeah, this is me in a nutshell, okay? So, I would look at my homework if I even wrote it down. And then I would be like, okay, when's my study hall? When can I do this homework the class before? Can I do this pre-class? Can I do this when I get to school early? And then I'd get to school and I'd talk to my friends for 30 minutes and be like, oh, I was supposed to do stuff.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I think I've done that.
And
before.
that was me in a nutshell in high school, because it was it just wasn't a priority, and I thought it was harder than it actually was. You know what I mean? I think my mind wasn't there. I don't
Yeah.
think I had ADD or anything like that, but the focusing part, which is why I identify so much with Jackson
Yeah.
and Braden on focusing. When it's not your interest, it's very hard to focus.
I can.
I can watch 16 one-hour podcasts and pick it apart and be like, oh, I need to do that, or I need to ask this question and whatnot. But sit me down in front of geometry, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's just not. And so, how do we find their interests earlier?
Yeah.
I think is where the school system is failing. How do we find not only what they're good at, but what their interests are earlier, so we can prepare them longer?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I like that you don't. You're a little bit older than I am, not by much, right? I don't
I'm
believe.
34.
Yeah, so 10 years. It's not that much to me, but
Yeah.
you don't really. You have the same feeling about school that I do. I never really liked the educational system. Maybe it's just because I'm a little bit younger and I'm a little bit fresh out of high school. Still
Yeah.
just 5 or 6 years ago. It just didn't. I never liked the way teachers treated kids. I
No.
never liked the idea of homework. Is just funny to me. Like projects sure, take home projects and stuff like that, that's fine. Something you can work on over a week, but something that you give a kid after he just went to school for 6, 7, 8 hours, and then
Yep.
you want him to go home and do it more, where does he have time to explore and,
Yeah.
see who he is,
Absolutely.
develop in other areas. And
Yeah.
I hated homework. I hope Wyatt doesn't have to do too much of it.
It's crazy. The preschool program that my kids went through at St. Leo's was intense.
Yeah.
Then they went to kindergarten. Kindergarten, they had like 4 papers to do by Wednesday. And I remember splitting it up like, okay, we'll do 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow, so we don't have it all at once. Then they got to first grade, and it was like a page and a half a night. And I was like, wait a minute, we just did 4 pages before Wednesday. Like, it was so much more intense
Yeah.
in the earlier times.
And he just calmed down.
Yeah, and I think it all depends on the teachers. Personally,
That's another thing too. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Sound off.
I think I think the educational system is broken. I think the way we're teaching the children is insanity. I think sitting in a cold chair in a cold room with a fucking mask on,
Yeah.
and
That
having
too,
the womp 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 teacher in the front of the room.
What
Adult?
Yeah.
What adult do you know can learn that way for longer than 30 minutes? You just can't. So asking a kid to go for 7 hours a day with whatever, an hour lunch or whatever.
recess. Whatever.
Yeah. But it's like, and then come home and sit at the table.
And do it again.
It's insanity.
There's teachers, like you said, teachers are different, like vastly different. They are
Yeah.
not, you can't put teachers in the same group. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
in high school, I had teachers I loved and teachers I hated.
Yeah.
And there was teachers I loved probably for the wrong reasons, and there's teachers I hated probably still for the right reasons, but teachers
yeah.
that I did because they were great teachers in a sense of Mr. Anderson, right? He was our history teacher. I think we did, what was it, U.S. history was our last year, but I'm just trying to remember it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't make us take our textbooks home. We always had to put our textbooks in the back of the class, and if you took your textbook out of the room, you would have to go to detention the next
Wow.
day. Yes, so this guy says, no, never take your textbooks out of this class. We do all of our work in the class. And he
Love
was
that.
never up there just talking, you know what I mean? He was interacting. He'd come to each and
Yes.
every student and say, okay, let's go through this story. And this was in high school, you know what I mean? To have that, when you're older and to have that attention, I feel like it's, it's important when you're a kid, of course, but when you're older and going through those high school emotions and puberty and all that stuff,
Yeah.
to have that true attention from an adult at school, a teacher, was great, and I had a
Yeah.
couple of those, and there are some
Right.
teachers that were too cool, that
Yeah,
were like,
yeah.
oh, you're playing on your phone on Snapchat? As long as you're paying attention, you're listening, right? I had a couple, or one of those, and
Yeah.
of course I liked him, but did I get the best education in that class?
Right.
Probably not, but
Yeah, finding that balance. But I mean, in today's world, when the kids are constantly connected and dealing with so much more at such a young age, it's beyond me to open up a book in a school where it's like, and I mean, Devin loves to read, you know what I mean? So of course he loves books, but it's so archaic. You know what I mean? To think that the same way I learned in school is the same way my kids are learning, that's not right.
no.
There's something broken.
And you know what else I don't like? Sorry
No,
to cut
you're
you
good.
off, but it's just this might be getting too deep into it, but some of the content that they teach the kids too. And and then people may have different opinions on this, but they really thought that Columbus was this amazing
I thought
explorer.
that.
So did I until a couple years ago.
Very recently,
Yeah.
way
And-
too recently,
Yeah.
did I realize that Columbus wasn't shit.
When I said Happy Columbus Day on Twitter and got railed for it, no, seriously though, yeah, you don't teach kids that, and they
Yeah.
don't, and I don't know if they're teaching them who puts the curriculum together and what they're trying to put the ideas into the minds of the young kids.
Yes.
I don't know if they're doing it they're trying to say it's for their good, or like I don't
or even
think
the Black History stuff.
that's even worse.
I don't even know. I mean,
We
God,
had-
I hate to say it, but we always say that like Catholic school education is better. But I don't agree with a lot of the Catholic Church. So what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah, you know, what's funny is that I went to Central Catholic. You know, it's on the east side. It
Yeah.
was I was like one of like the 3 white kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that they didn't have a Black History class until I was a senior is crazy to me. And I took the class too just because I was interested. I was like, this is
Yeah.
something we didn't learn for 3 years. And you know, I'm pretty sure the class, all the kids that wanted to take it couldn't take it because all the classes were filled. Because every kid there was interested in taking it. But why did it take until my senior year for that to become one of your
That's such a no-brainer.
a s-
Or at least
whatever it's called. What's it called? Your
Elective?
optional elective. Yeah. Why did it take that long to make that an elective? Like,
or why is it an elective? Why shouldn't half a whole year be dedicated to
if
that?
you're teaching theology, why not teach that? You know,
Makes sense.
it's just teaching history the right way would just be.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I don't think kids are too young to, know what happened in history. I think it's important because
And we're
history
still learning.
repeats itself. You know what I mean?
As
So,
adults, we're still learning. So
I feel like I learned more as an adult on my own
Yeah.
on Google. looking these things up.
How
than I did
can
ever
you
in
have
class.
a curriculum that stands still when everything else is moving forward? Teachers are not getting paid enough. I'm a little biased because my mom was a teacher
Yeah.
my whole life. Well, she stopped to have children, but then went back to it, and now she's teaching at a college. She actually teaches teachers. So,
Oh, okay.
so kids that want to be teachers,
That's-
she teaches them.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, but the people that are educating and that have the ideas and that have the creativity to like be Miss Frizzle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
take these kids on a journey when they don't even realize that they're learning.
That is great. That's the best thing right there is when you don't realize you're learning. And
Yes.
you don't get that often. And for a kid
No.
to not know that he's learning, that would probably make him love school. It's
Yeah.
like when you know that you're learning, you're just like writing down whatever the guy's got up on. Did you ever have to do that? A teacher would create a PowerPoint, put it up on the wall, and then you had to copy what the PowerPoint
We
said.
had projectors.
That's what I'm talking.
Okay,
Yeah, same
yeah.
thing. Like they put a sheet up under that light,
Yep.
and you'd have to copy what was on the sheet. Why not just copy the sheet and give it to me, and I can look at the sheet?
Yeah, and make footnotes on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wild. And I think I want to say their heads were in the right space to where they're preparing you for college. And in a traditional college sense, there's a speaker in the front of the room and you have to write down all the important things and it's all about lectures and this, that, and the other thing. But if college is changing and college is more hands-on, I mean, okay, so think about it this way. So Trinity, they're not a college prep. They're like they have internships. So sophomore through senior year, you pick either graphic arts, medical, food, and then like there might be another one, but their medical students junior year are drawing blood.
Really?
High school kids are drawing blood second year of their internship. That's huge.
Yeah, that's great. That's
That is
education
where
in the right
we need
direction.
to go. Even
Yeah.
if they don't use that, like taking the CPR and the
To know
Heimlich
how to
maneuver,
to teach kids
life skills here.
Yes. That was another thing is like how come there was never a class for life skills? How to balance a checkbook, how to pay your bills, how to just know how to be an adult. When I felt like after high school I was kind of just thrown into being an adult.
Credit scores. Hello.
Yeah, how does that work?
Still trying to get mine up. I'm 34. Had I known what the hell a credit score was at 18
Maybe-
and how to help it or hurt it, I mean, it's just...
I destroyed it.
I mean, dude, let's not talk about that. That's not relevant
Yeah,
here.
no, not at all.
But it's just it's stuff that's no brainers. So how do we disrupt something? And as sad as it is, I think the church, not to get preachy, I think the church as a whole is behind. I think everything about it. I still consider myself a Christian, but I think the institution of church is behind. So in turn,
Their schools are going
their
to be,
schools
right?
are starting to be behind. So now you're going to see a lot more private schools that are non-denominational pop up with the uniform and the everything else.
I
However,
kind of might like that. You know, like, and I went to Catholic schools
I don't hate it.
and Christian schools my whole Catholic schools my whole life. You know, I think
Yeah.
a few years here and there I went to I went to public school once. That was fun.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was definitely fun. But not no uniform was great. But
Yeah, yeah.
went through most of my life, and I didn't. Do I think for me theology I needed to learn all of that personally for me where I'm
Yeah.
at? No, but like, and did I like some of the stuff that they taught you, like to be a good person, and to the uniform is, you know, it's good to wear a uniform to, you know, make sure that your clothes are laid out. When you go to work, you got to dress nice when you're older
Absolutely.
anyway. So
getting used to that.
yeah, that's just like kind of a thing, you know, that you want to know how to present yourself. I like
Right.
some stuff that the Catholic and the, you know, Christian schools they do, but I don't necessarily like that it has to be based around a religion, you know, because
Right.
there's so many different religions, and nowadays America,
Absolutely.
it's a melting pot, you know, so you
Absolutely.
can't, you're really limiting the people that you can let into your school and limiting the people that your child will interact with. And that was
Absolutely.
like a big thing for me is at Central Catholic, where I went to high school, there was a big range of kids there. There were some kids that weren't even Catholic that went there,
Yeah.
and that their families weren't Catholic, but they
Yeah.
just, you know, they went there just because they thought it was a good school. And
Yeah.
I think that's important for your kids to, you know, grow up around people that aren't necessarily just like them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I don't want to say that it's necessary for a child to be well-rounded and grow up around religion. However, I think faith and religion are two completely different things.
Yeah.
To have a child learn what faith is, I think is imperative. And that's a hot take. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
No,
Because
I got you.
everybody, I mean, a lot of people that I know are considered atheists or don't believe in God. But I've heard so many stories of people going through really tough situations, and then all of a sudden they're like, I just had to pray.
I know a
Or
lot.
I had to speak out loud.
There are a lot of
and I'm
people like
just
that.
like, hello? There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a reason for when your back is against the wall and when you're going through the toughest of tough times and you feel helpless, that you feel like there's nothing more that you can do but pray.
Yeah.
And just because you can't deal with it. So exposing a child to faith or
Yeah.
religion or whatever just because there's that option, to me that does more for them than we even know.
Yeah.
You know, because I went through, so I did public school until high school, which is weird because my mother was a very devout Catholic.
Yeah.
My whole life. So growing up, all my religion and faith talk, we used to do the rosary before school, but then we would go to public school, which was super random.
Yeah.
And then when I chose to go to Holy Name, that's when I first got my official religion education, you know? And then even moving on to college, I took a bunch of like world religion classes to learn about Buddhism and Hinduism.
That's cool. I like
and
those.
realizing how similar all of these religions are and the base that most of them are made on,
They're
it's
very
like,
similar.
it
They're
blew
almost
my mind.
They're almost very. It's weird that they're so similar.
Yes, and there's a
And-
reason for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny that you say that you went to, or not funny, but it's funny to me because I went to Catholic schools like most of my whole life. Most of my friends that I know I met through those schools.
Right.
So they all went to Catholic schools too.
Right.
Most of them are agnostic now and just don't. And I think that, you know, I was down the same path. I think maybe just doing the same thing every day it was just forcing it upon them kind of in the way that they do in certain ways. Like,
Right.
it's just, like you said, having religion and having faith is two different things.
Right.
And not forcing, but just, making the kids go through it every day and them not understanding why they're going through it, I think that is kind of what makes them become non-religious.
Not relating it. And I noticed that
Yes,
too.
not relating it. Because for me,
Yeah.
growing up, going through that all the time, it just felt like I was, when we stand up at the very beginning of the class to do
Yeah.
I don't even remember it now, but it felt to me like I was saying the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of class every
Or
day.
starting a cult.
Yes, yes. Like, and
There's times during church where I'm just like, this is super weird.
yeah, and my mom's always had a very different take. Like, she's never been a churchy type of person. She
Right.
likes to listen to, preachers
Right.
preach the word. That's it. That's
Absolutely.
on TV or
Mhm.
wherever. And, I kind of like that. My mom has a very different view because she's very religious.
Yeah.
Very.
Mhm.
It's hard for us to talk because, we're kind of different in that aspect. But
Right.
she's not shy to talk to me about it, obviously. And
Yeah.
she's just different. She's not like your average, religious person. She's not very go to churchy, and that's, I wouldn't even say that's average nowadays because it's kind of
Yeah.
not.
It's dying
And-
out
and-
very quickly.
Maybe church was started as a good thing,
Yes.
but maybe there were some corrupt people along the way that unfortunately used it to benefit their own, agenda or whatever.
Absolutely.
Which sucks because I honestly, and it feels like it happens within the past 10, 20 years, because I remember when I was a kid, we would go to church and it was different.
Everyone went.
Yes, and it was different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I did feel like a sense of community. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? But now, like you said, it's just so weird and
Yeah, and that's funny.
cultish kind of. Yeah, it's
That's funny you say that, because I do remember my parents, most of their friends came from church.
yeah.
And
Same for like all of Amber's family friends.
yeah, that's super strange. And another side tangent, I don't know what this had to do with anything. However, there was a short period of time where these Jehovah Witnesses would come to my house, and
Yeah.
being home with just an infant,
Wait, hold on. This happened over here.
yeah.
Oh man, I
So
haven't
they
been
would come to
visited
my
yet.
house, and I know you can relate to this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, humans.
Yes,
Humans to
let's
talk
talk.
to. So I would invite them in. My wife got very upset with
This
me
is
about
awesome, dude.
Okay,
This
so-
is so funny.
it. But listen, so
I love it.
I told him or I told them right off the bat, like, listen, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Christian. I'm not looking for any other religious orders
Path
to
or
be a
whatever.
part of.
Yeah.
However, if you can come over once every couple weeks and pray with me and just, read a passage and read a Bible verse and then we'll talk about it, I don't see a problem in that.
Yeah.
Taking 4 kids to church wasn't my favorite thing to do, So if I got that,
You guys did that. Did you do that often?
I did for a long time. As the older ones got older, I stopped even asking,
Yeah.
and I would just take the little ones. And it's been way too long since I've been back to church. There was a time period in there where I didn't go. I mean, it's not an excuse, but we were just too busy. This, that, and the other
Well,
thing.
I mean, you have life, like.
And then the first time I went back, I remember, I'll never forget this. I went to Mass, and the entire homily, which is like the sermon that
Yeah.
the priest gives, was about the budget for the year. Yep,
Really?
this is our annual budget. This is what we project. This is what we need from
It's
you
a sales
guys.
meeting.
That was the homily. That was the meaning of the church.
Yeah, that's bad.
I was like, hey, dude, I'm out.
Yeah, that would probably honestly piss me off because.
This is what's wrong.
Yeah.
You cannot replace the word of the Lord with the annual report.
No.
That doesn't work. I'm sorry.
They shouldn't even be connected, honestly.
It's just, it was everything that was wrong. It was everything why I didn't want to go back.
Yeah, and honestly, don't feel bad for not going back because you maybe have to just find the right place or the real people. I always use the term real
Absolutely.
people, because
Yes.
there's some people out there that are just doing something, they may seem real, but they're doing it to only benefit their own
Absolutely.
agenda, and when you find real people,
Right.
So, it's
But
nice.
what's funny about the Jehovah's,
Yes,
so
yes. Did they come over? And start every week. Or
It was either every week or every other week.
yeah.
And it was always like right before I got the kids. And I mean, he was a super nice dude. I mean, later Lisa was like, I need you to look more into this religion. Because they may seem like nice people, but I need you to look at the underlying, like...
And was it there's some weird stuff?
It's pretty jacked up.
Okay.
As far as, like, the hierarchy of the man and the women and...
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not okay. However, at the time, I felt that it was helping me in my faith-filled journey or whatever it was. But the other thing was, the thing that blew my mind was, one thing that they understood was marketing and the youth. They had YouTube videos. They had full-length movies. I'm talking like James Cameron-looking movies that kids and parents can watch together with the message of whatever they were teaching. Their website, unreal. Their social media, this, that, and the other thing. They got it.
They were there. And I feel
They
like...
were with the times.
I feel like the Catholic Church is nowhere near that.
We're stuck in the 60s. Are you joking?
And I don't think that they want to come out either. And I mean...
No.
Maybe it's like kind of like maybe it's a bad comparison, but like Amish people, you know, they really value those old
Right.
cores, you know, the core values, you know, they really value those things. And maybe that's just how the church is. They don't want to.
And that's the other thing.
Move
When one of the priests would say mass, I shouldn't say where, but he would end the homily with, "We are Catholic, we are against abortion.
What?
We are Catholic, we believe in
Not same-sex marriage?
not same-sex marriage." I forget how he worded it,
Probably badly.
but yeah.
He
And I'm
said
just
that,
like,
dude? That's
no, I'm
nuts.
talking about black and white. That was how he would end his homily.
And were you like, was
And I'm
anybody
like-
else shook around you, or were you
No,
kind of
because
like,
everyone's 80. It's just, I couldn't.
dude, that's actually kind of nuts.
It
That
is nuts.
I actually I would probably shit bricks if I was sitting there and they said
Dude,
that. I'd be
it's
like,
wild. It's wild.
it is.
Because, I mean, regardless of your beliefs on either, the fact that you could just outright say that,
It's not okay.
I mean, I go back to, I don't want to go too deep in this, but like, Jesus said, let the children come. He didn't say, hey, let the kids, let the gay kids stay behind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just,
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
at the
but
core of religion, I believe that we are supposed to be a loving community to all.
yeah, well, if
Jesus
that's what
supposedly
preach.
hung out with the prostitutes, tax collectors, terrible people,
yeah.
which is why my friends are who they are. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what we're taught. And I just, going back to what you were saying about community, I think, honestly, number one, that's why I made this podcast. That's
Yeah.
why I want to have a group of people, and eventually I want to get together in person and just, hey, I saw your podcast, I love this and
Yeah.
that and the other thing, and
I really dig that too. I was not to
because
cut
it's
you off.
lost
Yeah.
in society now.
This felt like a nice little, like, not like therapy session, but I don't, like you said, stay-at-home parents, you don't really have a ton of people to talk to, and
Yeah.
you were in the same situation that
Right.
I am in, and you still probably have to do all the same things that you did even when you were a stay-at-home dad, I'm sure.
I mean,
You know,
it's a little bit more balanced now, but she's, I mean, working from home, and
oh, yeah.
the kids are home, so it's
Might be a little
wild.
bit harder for her than now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
10
so,
times harder.
So things are flipping again, and that's the
Yes.
thing, you know. Life, like you said earlier,
There you go.
exactly. Cut it back.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice, you know, to be able to talk about it, and
It
sure
is.
you could talk about it with other people, but will they really understand and give you feedback? I like one thing I really appreciate is feedback. You know,
Yes.
I don't like to just talk to a wall. You know, I don't
Yeah.
like to just get my feelings out there and talk about the stuff that I'm interested in. I like
Yeah.
for somebody else to comment back with what they're interested in, and it's like
Absolutely.
this is exactly it, you know. And I even felt a connection with the other your friend who you had on the first
Yeah.
show. You know, I related with a ton of stuff that he said, like about getting that me time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's for me. When Wyatt takes his nap, I feel pressured to do something
Yeah,
with
yeah,
my
yeah.
time, not
Yeah.
just sit around.
Absolutely.
But
And that'll come easier and easier, you know.
yeah, But yeah, I'm excited to see what comes with this podcast.
Yeah, me too. And I want people, and I forgot to say this last time. I want people to comment below and also share this with whoever needs it. You know, I'm not planning on quitting my job anytime soon and do
Yeah.
this full time
Yeah.
and get all these sponsorships, and
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
that would be amazing. However,
Dream.
that's not why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm doing this for selfish reasons, but I'm also doing it to build a community.
Helps others too, so it's not totally
Absolutely.
selfish.
Yeah. So I'm gonna save this. Save this. I'm gonna share this on my Facebook group, which I think I set up correctly. I'm gonna
Yep.
share it on my Instagram.
Nice.
Um,
I feel like Instagram's good for podcasts.
YouTube. I'm gonna try to do clips of certain sections, maybe stuff that I cut out, maybe stuff that I think,
Highlights.
yeah,
Yeah.
people really need to hear.
If you are interested in like the getting viewerships and stuff and getting like a following and stuff, I
Yeah.
do notice like when you put highlight clips like and stuff like that,
Yeah.
those get more views sometimes than the actual podcast. Because
Absolutely.
some people don't have time to listen, and that's when we tried our thing out.
Yeah.
That's what we struggled with, was getting, on Spotify it allows you to view how long most people listen. And
Oh,
our
okay.
average listening through the whole thing was not great. People were only listening to, the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of it. But our highlight clips on Instagram got tons of views
See,
and
yeah.
interaction and stuff. So
Right.
I think that's probably maybe
And that's,
important
I mean,
to-
that's what all the big dogs do. I mean,
Joe Rogan's,
Joe Rogan is a perfect example.
yeah, his highlight page has more followers, I believe, than his actual.
And it makes sense, and
page.
it's a testament to, I mean, just people's attention spans and whatnot.
And
I know personally, I'll listen to Joe Rogan at work because I'm just doing other things while I'm working, or listening while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
And but there'll be some times where I'm just like, hey man, I need to take a break from
Yeah.
this one, because sometimes it's tough. I mean, even the best in the world, you know what I mean,
look,
is gonna have to. I'm gonna have to come
Yeah,
back to
not
that
listen
one,
to it.
you know.
no, I feel that, and they're not all gonna be hits. You know what I mean? Like just because
Absolutely.
there's celebrities and they're great, and they always have celebs on and stuff like that, doesn't mean that it's necessarily gonna be great. Will there be great little moments in there? Sure,
Absolutely.
and that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
probably drives the show now. is-
Right.
I think maybe you just get there. Once you get there, and you got all these people, that are interested in your podcast,
Yeah.
maybe then it'll just it gets easier. But I feel like just grabbing that audience is like the hardest part.
Yeah.
For us, it was at least.
Yeah,
But-
and I'm hoping after I put out maybe 10, somebody will gravitate to at least one of them.
Yeah.
At least somebody. They'll find somebody with something that was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, or relate to me in some way, or and then go back. Because have you ever found a podcast with the first episode? They just released it? No, you
No.
find it when it's like 10, 20, 30 episodes in, and then you
Mm-hmm.
go back. You know what I mean? So in my head, I'm like, okay, if I just keep putting them out, I mean, gradually people hopefully will listen.
Dude, honestly, your goal to get someone to just relate, you already reached it. Like I said with me, when I listened to the first episode,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm excited to get on this because
That's so awesome.
it's like one of the things when you're a stay-at-home dad and you don't have many interest, or I have interest, but you don't have time to do all those things and
Right.
stuff. And this is kind of like is my life.
Yeah.
Coming on here and being able to talk about it is great.
Yeah.
Honestly, just having just all the content or not all the. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. All the thoughts and stuff that I have all
Yeah.
day long, it's just
For
nice
sure.
to be able to get them out. And when I listened to the show earlier, it was just, I was like, I can connect. I took a lot of the stuff home, you know what I mean,
Right.
after I listened to it.
Yeah.
I thought about it later on. And I think you'll be able to do that with anybody who listens to this, who's in
Awesome.
a parenting situation, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
For sure. So I was gonna do a rapid fires questions, but I don't feel like doing that anymore. I'm just gonna leave with what's one thing that you would tell? Because I know you asked me for new parent advice. So what's one thing now, your kid being almost 2, what
Okay.
would you give a new parent or a soon-to-be new parent? What's one piece of advice?
Honestly, biggest thing is just don't let it get to you. You know, don't let all the stress and everything like break you down and just push you over to that boiling point. Like if you need help or if you need a break, don't be afraid to ask. Like don't feel like a bad parent if you want 20 minutes to go play the game
Yeah.
just to get away. Like yeah, don't
Yeah.
feel like I feel like for me the biggest thing I struggled with was just making those mistakes
Yeah.
and not being able to accept them and breaking down essentially. So
Yeah.
just anytime it's okay to make mistakes, you know?
Yeah.
That's basically what I would
Absolutely.
say is
I dare you to find someone that didn't have help.
yeah, and that's the thing is like you want to feel like you did it on your own.
Absolutely.
You want to feel like you're the parent, you know, you're the one, but
No one does
you
it.
can't.
On their
It takes a village to raise a kid, they say, and
own. That is the truest.
it's probably why it's a saying because it's
Yeah.
true. And
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love all the help I get from others. Don't be afraid to